Hashtag. Oh, it's not there. For. No, that's not it. It's still spinning, so that's a good thing, right?
Yeah. Put an exclamation point. I don't know why.
Oh wait, I think I think it's on. Live? It's totally on. So it's not going to be. No, it's not. Spinning. But look, it's showing us that we are, even though it's showing live.
Okay, I don't know what kind of boogers are going on in this system, but
we've been live for like
18 minutes and we don't know.
Oh, not 18 minutes, 45 seconds. So it's still spinning.
I didn't pick my nose yet.
Well, you still have a chance, Jen.
Okay. Hi! It's Wednesday. It's showing us that we're still spinning, but on the Righteous Rebels page and wherever else you're viewing us, it looks like YouTube and my personal page.
Just not LinkedIn.
Just not LinkedIn, which we were it was asking us to link in, which because we thought we were spinning. Anyway, we're live. Welcome to Wednesday. Which means live and unscripted. What is today? The 27th, March 27th, 2024 edition.
Spring.
Officially spring. Last week was actually officially spring.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Oh, that's funny because now it says our broadcast is not on. But it shows me. This is so confusing.
Are we still going? We didn't ask it to schedule a time.
It didn't, but it showed. Look, it's saying the things that we're saying. I have no idea because here it says.
I am so baffled right now.
So do we continue?
Mine shows that we are live as well.
Okay, so I guess we just.
But that leads to the question of when it's time to stop.
How do we stop? I guess we'll have to unplug. Oh my goodness.
I'm not really sure what's going on right now, but this is showing that we're live. So we're going to go with the fact that we're live. And even if we don't understand the gremlins that are taking place in the program right now.
Yeah, even on your personal page. So there it is. Here we are.
We may. Is this an effect of we may have been talking about switching programs for exactly things like this?
Dun, dun, dun.
Maybe
broadcasting site.
So funny. Like, look at, we're not even in the same place on our.
Well, we've been live for 2 minutes. So do we do it or start again?
What do you think?
I think it's still live and there's 2 people watching.
I say we're here. We're here. We're showing people. You're showing people watching. I'm not showing people watching. I don't know what the hell's going on. So
what?
I let's just put a disclaimer on this one. Note to self. Trigger warning, possible swear words coming out, and maybe we should call this one like live and uncorked.
I love that. Live and uncorked.
It's a little bit how I feel today. Leah was writing the description and she looked at me and she said, you look a bit defiant. I said, it's a little bit how I feel. I don't even really know why. I have an idea why. I honestly am not sure that I want to chat about it right here, right now. So let's go to, it doesn't share.
It doesn't share my comment. Hey, it's Debbie. Hey, Debbie says hi from Portugal. So she does see us. Okay, Debbie.
Debbie, will you write a comment?
Because I'm not seeing them.
We're just trying to figure out what's going on
Debbie.
here.
Because seriously, on our broadcasting thing.
Well, that one showed.
But
they're not showing on here because this says we're off.
Okay, it hurt. Cork.
Seriously, so
this
bizarre.
Is so weird.
Isn't there a song about that?
Oh, yeah, she says whoop whoop.
Okay.
I can't see your comments. That's so bizarre. So I guess it's still live. This is so bizarre.
That is so just wild.
Okay, shall we So you've given the disclaimer.
I have given a disclaimer. Let's see how that writes that in the words. It is telling me to send 200 stars to show comments. Yes, send 200 stars. I don't know why it's saying that.
Oh, it's live
to
on
pin
YouTube
your comments. Okay, we're just going to go with it. Thanks
go.
for hanging with us for the last 18 minutes while we figure out what the hell's going on. We already gave a disclaimer, like yes. What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
That's a little bit, okay, we got noise there. That can't be there. Anyway, let's start how we always do. Which is not the way we just did it. No. And that's okay. That's what I love about, one, this program as it is, and about Righteous Rebels just in general, is that we could give you like the no bullshit like version of life. Crap happens. And I'm going to find myself going on a rant. We're going to just go right into breathing, of which I'm not going to do today. I'm going to allow Leah to do it.
Yes, you invited me to do it. You voluntold me to do it.
I pretty much voluntold you.
So
which I'm appreciative. So yeah, thank you.
Let's just start how we normally start, and maybe like recombobulate our discombobulation here. That is still showing that we shouldn't be live, but we are definitely still live. So
this fits this fits the Rebel brand.
Yeah. It fits how we're
Go ahead and tell us we're not live, because we're live. And we're alive.
So Jen, what side's your heart on?
Leah, your heart is on your right side.
Ongoing joke. Okay, so we're just going to start with some breathing today. Put your hand on your heart. I like to do it that way just so I can feel my heart. I can feel the resonance of my voice and my breathing, and I can feel my chest go up and down. So I'm even talking fast.
There you are.
All discombobulated.
I like it on my belly too, because I can feel the connection between the heart brain and the gut brain. If I could put my hand, I would do but I will connect all of them. So if you want to, you can put your other hand on your heart. I kind of envision a figure 8, an infinity sign moving through my heart and my gut, and actually up to my brain as well.
I actually have a thing with putting my hand on my tummy. So I won't be, but I like that.
If you just touch your tummy, that's an invitation, even if it feels uncomfortable for you. Your own tummy.
Yep. So you're invited to, you can have a downward gaze or just close your eyes and just slow down your breathing. I'm not even going to put numbers to it because that freaks me out and then I lose count. So just breathe. Pay attention to your breath. Pay attention to how it moves in your body. I think of like filling up a balloon. Your lungs is a balloon. Fill them right up. Hold it there for whatever feels good for you. And then you can release slowly. Like really pay attention to how you're releasing. And like I think of like pushing right down into my toes, letting all the air out way down to my toes. And holding there for a second. Bringing back up. And really just do whatever feels most natural to you. We'll give it another round. Whew. Okay. Where are you at, Miss Defiant?
I'm going to stutter. I really enjoy the breathing because it allows me that chance, especially in moments like right then, right now, where my mind wants to just like start spinning and making up stories and trying to problem solve, to just get quiet. Like I can hear you, but I'm tuning you out. And just noticing breath and noticing what thoughts want to come in and out. And I actually had one in regards to Debbie, who's watching us, because I want to go see you where you're at. But I just appreciate the opportunity to just slow down for a minute, come back into the now, the present, the right here, the right now, where solutions can be found if they're going to be found. where we can just really be aware of what's going on and letting go of stories, things that have already happened. I'm getting ready to host a race on the 20th of April. 20th. I'm speaking today. It's going to be fun. Uncorked. So I've spent the morning answering emails and messages and like just feeling people's concerns and their anticipation and their excitement to come and participate in this race. I started reading that. Yeah, you're welcome to send us your money and see stars, but I'm not sure why it's doing that today. We're seeing your comments, they're just not showing up wherever. I think stars is for YouTube.
It's for Facebook too.
Okay. Anyway, we can see your comments, Debbie, so thank you. This one says send 200 stars to pin your comments, which I'm just learning what that is. So anyway, I'm just grateful.
What?
I just read her other comment. Did I say that?
No, it was just about breathing. Okay, so about the race, people getting excited about the race.
And then coming on here, realizing like, oh my gosh, it's time to come on here. And then just having the gremlins that are going on. And so the breathing I love that we can use that tool anytime, anywhere, and that it's always available to us to just like pause. We find ourselves in a crunchy space or wanting to come uncorked or undone. We can just pause and breathe. And so thank you for leading that today. And I appreciate that you stated for yourself that like sometimes the numbers messes you up. I'll state numbers, but I always say also like do what works for you. So I appreciated how you presented that today. And just thank you. Thanks for being willing to be voluntold.
Aaron. Hey, Aaron. So it's so cool that you guys are on today. I've been thinking about you guys a lot. So Debbie and Aaron took their family from Canada and moved them all the way out to Portugal last month, I think it was. So yeah, you guys have been really on my mind, and it's so fun that you guys are on today. So I hope this conversation can serve you.
Right. Well,
we'd love to have you on.
Feel free to add to it. Yeah, we've got to actually have you guys on live and unscripted. So let's arrange that. I was going to ask you, will you put in the comments like what the time? So right now it's 11:35 Mountain Standard Time on Wednesday, the 27th of March. What is your time? Like, what's our time difference? And let's get that stuff figured out. I mean, you can message us outside of here too, but I feel the stall because I often, when I come on to things like this or I do my Tuesday adventure posts or whatever I'm doing, I often don't know what I'm going to say. And which is awesome. And at the same time, it still feels scary for me, even though that's how I know that myself and creative energy work together. It still feels scary. It's how I do my coaching when I have a client. People ask me what their program is, and the reality is they're my program. You're my program, because it's catered to you, and that feels scary sometimes because my mind does want to have like this set thing I'm going to run you through, but the reality is we do what works for you. So I'm in this space right now of knowing where I'm at in front of you and how I feel inside of me. And there's this really big gap of things that have been taking place in my world that, honestly, I don't know that I don't know that I'm ready to talk about them. Or that I have the words to talk about them because I still feel a lot of anger. So there's this gap of how I've shown up in the world versus the learning that I'm getting of actually higher levels of coming home to myself, a higher understanding or different understanding of what it means to be a rebel. And just the experiences that I'm getting to move through in order to have that. So there's this disparity of me always showing up as wanting to show up as this, I am knowledgeable. and I do know a lot, and I know a lot of things from spaces that aren't from this planet. I have gifts that way, and I don't always love to talk about it because I don't like to feel weird. I don't like to show up as weird, but the reality is it's just part of who I am, kind of weird. But I'm really damn fun at the same time. But also it's that showing up in a professional way. I air quoted that because I don't know right now what professional is. And really there's no terminology. Like I'm having a lot of, when I say uncorked, I feel myself wanting to come out in a lot of rants right now. And it's really bumping up against how I have shown up in the past of more put together, I guess would be a word, more, you want me to say it? I feel it.
I don't want you to say anything.
Yeah,
I just want
it's the religion that I grew up in, still playing a role in how I show up with people. It's the what would Jesus do, knowing I have for myself a different understanding of who that personage is, who that energy and entity is, different from how I was taught it. So I feel apprehension in wanting to talk about those things. And I feel apprehension in wanting to talk about a lot of things because of my sexuality. And sometimes the disparity of those things and people wanting to judge because I'm okay talking about Jesus, or I'm okay talking about God. And they that energy plays a big role in my life and in who I am as a person. So right now I'm just in this space of just like
settling into what feels authentic for you. Like I think of this, there's something you sent me. It's a quote, and it says, the best thing about being authentic is that there's no image to maintain. You're going to delight some, disturb others, and none of it will concern the truth of your being. And I think that's the place of when we're raised a certain way with certain expectations and a need to maintain a certain image, not only for ourselves and our being, but to uphold the reputation of our family and our culture and everyone around us. You know, I feel like you're in this crunch of doing what feels right, what you've done all your life, but knowing there's this other piece that it's bumping up against that image because you're wanting to live in a way that's more authentic and more real to you and being able to communicate what that voice is for yourself.
No, I appreciate that. And I appreciate you sharing that. It doesn't feel like it's just bumping up against, it feels like it's freaking bowling me over. Like, and I, in moments, I'm not sure how to do it. I see that Haley, early is on here watching, and hi Haley, thanks for watching. And it makes me think of what you were just talking about and how I've shown up and some of the things that I've done out of my own insecurities. And Haley brings up some memories that I have of my own, I guess you would call it wanting to hide. Like Haley and I worked together. She was my supervisor when I worked at Mountain View Hospital in their gym. And we have very different ways of showing up in the world and how we did our jobs and worked with the people that we worked with. I need a tissue.
I gotcha.
Anyway, and when I left that facility, I had a lot of reservations. I was stepping out into a whole new world of experience. The gym had helped bridge some gaps for me in huge life changes. Thank you. And So one of the things that I did, and I'm saying this today, one, because it's coming to mind, and uh, I don't always love admitting these things, but now I'm in a space of like really learning to admit them on deeper levels to myself, and because maybe you need to hear this as well, whoever you are out there, and I would love to have more conversation. But one of the things that I did is in my insecurity or my not really knowing howness to move forward, I stopped doing some things because I didn't want certain people to see them because I was afraid of judgment. Haley's one of those people. My coworkers back then were some of those people, and I think it was the feelings of not enoughness or not really getting things movingness. And so, Haley, I appreciate that you have stayed in my corner and that you continue to support me no matter what that looks like, and encouraged me to believe in myself on different levels outside of the constructs that that I knew so well. So I think I'm just in that space of like really what does it mean to be out of the box? What does it mean to really step forward in like I feel like I'm pretty transparent, but I'm learning that there's some things that I've held back in. I thought about that. So this is what it looks like to step out of the box for me. This is something I did for myself as a reminder to stay out of the box, because it's so damn easy to get back in the box, and not just get back in it, but to like pull the lids down and do magic. And I don't know, maybe I have a tape gun on the inside and I tape it from the inside. Like, you know what that's like? Please let me know that you know what that's like. So what I did is I was having a conversation last year with Leah, and we're talking about being out of the box. And for me, being out of that box was, there's a lot of things. And actually, I don't know that I want to get into those things because we only have a certain amount of time today. But some of those were the religion that I grew up in. Some of those are the boxes of the sexuality that I identified with for very much of my life. Some of those are in how I show up in the world and the face that I wanted to put on, and or how I wanted to be seen. It's not that wasn't genuine to me, because it is genuine to me, but I think maybe I didn't allow some of the other more edgy feelings. I'm a feeler, but maybe not allow some of those things to come out. They're like edgy, cranky. I have things to say. Let me get on a soapbox stuff come out. Because seriously, right now, that's how I feel. I just feel a lot of rants.
So can we address that?
Should we do this first?
Sure.
So I created this for myself as a way to, and feel free to copy it. Go ahead and try. What?
Nothing.
I just took a box and I tore it up and I tore the edges off, and then I framed it and I put it where I can see it all the time as a reminder. And honestly, sometimes I just want to go knock it over because it is a reminder of like when I'm feeling like that I've probably stepped back in, or I'm stepping back in, and because there is comfort. It feels like there's comfort there. It feels like there's safety there, because they were the things that I knew. And when I'm in the box, I don't feel like I experience loss.
Is that true?
It's not true. I'm trying to find the words. It doesn't feel like I experience as much loss because I know what's in it. I can see it. I can feel it. I can taste it. Whereas when I'm out of the box, I'm unsure what to expect, but I know that it's far greater than anything that's inside of that box. I just have to be willing to allow life. So this has been the journey of the last probably 2 years, since March of 22, when my brother passed. I felt a shift in my life at that point. And just a reminder of like, hey, there's a lot of life to be lived, and are you actually living that life? I say that I am, and I live, but have I really stepped out? Have I really learned how to surrender? Which has been, again, the journey of especially the last year and a half. Learn how to surrender. Really, I've thought that I knew how to let life unravel and unfold, and I'm learning that I was kind of clueless, but I'm learning. I'm learning now. It's really super scary and really freaking amazing at the same time. And relearning how to use my voice. And that sometimes feels really scary because the voice that wants to come out is a bit different than the voice that I've presented in the past. And those things are still there. There's just more. I don't know. Thoughts? You had a question or address something.
Well, I think anger is something that is challenging for us, especially as women, to allow ourselves, maybe some. I'm just gonna say for people to express, and sometimes knowing how to channel the intensity of anger can feel scary, and I feel like sometimes we can avoid expression of that because we have this idea that if we express that way, it somehow says something about us.
I very much have felt like that.
So I guess my question to you is, why do you feel like you weren't able? You don't have to get into specifics, but why do you feel like you weren't able to or allow yourself to express? To feel that. I'm not even going to say express it, even to feel it for yourself.
Yeah. I would say that has a lot to do with, I just want to say thank you to those of you who are popping on and watching. It's really funny because our thing says we're not on, but we can see that we're on. So welcome. Welcome. I would say that the anger piece, probably has a lot to do with how I grew up and the culture, the religious culture that I grew up in, the family culture that I grew up in. I really grew up with, so my whole life, I really just have had this desire to love people like Jesus loves people, which means, friends, you're going to get to have experiences. And I often joke, like, maybe I should have just chosen like Mother Teresa or something like that. But it really is just to love people and to teach people how to really know how to come inside, but not knowing that means you got to learn how to come inside. I had a knowing of that. I just didn't know what that would entail. And I always knew that from a young age, that when I shared my experiences, even though people would come to me and be like, I don't know what the hell you're coming to me for. Like, do you not see what my life is? Do you not see the problems that I have or that I was moving through back then? Even as a teenager, I knew that if I shared my experiences, my lived experiences, and the things I had learned from them, that I would be kicking the door open or inviting them to kick the door open of their own life and experience. But part of that was I didn't feel like I could express anger because it was what would Jesus do? Jesus loved people. He showed up in joy. These are the things that I was taught. And
okay, but is it true that Jesus was never angry?
Well, I go back to the story of the merchants in the temple, and he actually like weaved a whip and used it, and he overthrew tables, and he was very unhappy with what was going on in there. And so it's not true, but that's just the picture that I had, and how I wanted to show up. And the reality is, I also don't like to live my life in an angry space. I don't enjoy how that feels. I don't, when I have felt it, there's anger's a tool. It's also, there's a lot of emotions that come under anger. It's that, am I going to use anger to propel me forward or what I'm doing in good ways, or am I going to cause destruction? And a lot of times when one of my favorite sayings is when emotion goes up, intelligence goes down. So when in that angry state, I'm not very smart. Like I don't feel very smart, and it's really easy to want to act out. So I think that's part of the other thing is I just try to maintain composure, and I try to maintain that how I want to be seen in the world, and how again, it's the places of, if I'm angry, then other people are probably angry at me. There's going to be judgment. There's going to be, less love in the circle that I knew how to get love. And I judged angry people. Like that's
easy.
That's the other piece of it is in my own judgment, I judged other people who were angry or who I thought were angry. And so I didn't want that back at me. So that's the other pieces that I'm getting to look at is just all the places that I have held judgment where I still hold it against myself and maybe other people.
I think when we don't have great models of expressing anger, I think of my own experience of not wanting to be an angry person, or when that was very prevalent in my life because of how it was modeled. To me, it communicated loss of control. It communicates
definitely the loss of control,
the destruction, and it was scary, like how anger was expressed or how it felt unpredictable. It felt again out of control.
Well, I think too, you just brought up a memory of part of why I'm going to use the word I repressed anger or held it at bay was a memory of coming home from college in my first year and having an incident at home where everyone's at the dinner table, and we had these when you go to restaurants and they use those plastic cups that are kind of they're not clear, they're kind of opaque. I don't know, anyway, like Pepsi cups is what comes to mind. We had some of those on the dinner table, and I was having this interaction and with a member of the family, and I asked for something to stop, and it didn't happen again. I asked for it to stop. I'm also on the phone with a friend, and it happened 3 times, and I hung the phone up, and I lost it, and I picked up my plastic cup and I hucked it at the table with my family sitting there. Or this is how I remember it, and it shattered. I remember thinking, "Oh my gosh, I'm dead. I'm so dead." But I also didn't like how that felt. And I took that glass and I put the pieces, or that plastic cup, I put the pieces inside of it, and I took it back to college with me, and I set it on my dresser as a reminder of like what anger can do, and to really control it and manage it. Maybe not understanding the good purposes that anger, and that it's part of a healing process.
Well, it's protection too. I look at anger like protection. I think of a story always comes to mind of my little guy when he was just starting school, and he was the one that was with me at home the longest because he's a February baby, so he had to wait a whole other year. So he had all this time with just me at home, and then to go to school felt really lonely for him. And he's a very feeling child and very emotional. And so, but he would act out. He would have these angry fits. He had temper tantrums, and like, I didn't understand where they came from. Like normally we had these great conversations, we could talk. And, like this one morning, it was just chaotic the whole morning, getting him out the door. And the next morning was looking the same. And I had the thought, I'm just going to hold you. I'm just going to hold you in my lap and let you rage. And I'm just going to hold you. And just how quickly the tension in his body, just how that melted, and he just started sobbing. And, he told me how when he's angry, he doesn't have to feel his sadness, and how we forget how easily we can go into that. We're covering some sort of hurt that we're feeling. We're wanting to protect ourselves.
You would have to bring that up. This is the show of let inspiration be the guide. So I appreciate that. And I know I love that kiddo, and his softness and tenderness, and that he can express himself in that way is just so, it's amazing and beautiful. It also reminds me of part of why I've taken a bit of a hiatus here is because I've been angry. Some stuff happened that really just, I think, cracked. I cracked. It's broken me a bit. And I have felt so angry. And I've let a lot of F words fly. This is, and here's the beauty about that. Like, some of you laugh and some of you might go, oh, and guess what? I don't care. I don't care. Sometimes a well-placed F word is the only thing that can attach the amount of hurt and pain and sadness and pull it out of you. And I'm really grateful that I learned that probably 10 or 11 years ago in a group of women who we held a weekly book club where we studied the 12 steps and we studied other spiritual things, not religious things, spiritual things. And I remember being in that place and wanting to be judgmental of them talking about swear words and especially the F word, and then allowing myself to open up to what that really could do for a person when used in that way. And this is like, I don't know that I have felt that amount of anger in, I don't even know how long. I still feel it. But you did the same thing for me. You gave me space to just feel the feels, to be able to talk about the things and to say I'm angry. And to find the other feels underneath of that: sadness, hurt, dismissed, lonely, I don't know if unwelcomed is the right word, placated, there's more. You don't need to know them all right now. We probably will have further discussion on this stuff, but I just appreciate that you gave me the space to, for 2 days, allow me to cry and to be angry and to say F words like right and left and to express in the way. And so you asked like how, and I'm allowing myself to do it probably for the first time really in my life. But doing it in ways that don't necessarily create collateral damage, because I'm doing it in the walls of my home. I'm expressing to people who can hear my hurt and not tell me what it is or what it needs to be or how I should be behaving
or how to fix
it or how I should show up. And I just get to be angry and go through all of those stages, wacky, weirdo stages of grief, and to actually dig deep enough to heal some things that have been there for a long time. So I appreciate that you bring that up. And if you guys are feeling like that and you need a safe space, reach out. Please reach out. Whether you're reaching out to us, which that is an invitation to do so, or you actually have safe people who can hold space for you, who can hold your heart, who can hold your words, who can just hold you. Please reach out. Feel it. This is part of Righteous Rebel. This is part of coming home to yourself. And it's the part of this journey that I knew would probably happen. I just didn't expect it quite like this. And you're all going to have similar things at some point or another. And I just encourage you to reach out and to recognize that it's normal. You're normal. Not that any of us really want to be normal, but it's part of the maybe a better way to say that, it's part of the human experience. You're human. You're a spirit having a human experience, and it's part of being human. And letting your spirit learn the things that it wants to learn and learn how to shine through you in those ways.
That, when you said that, reminded me of what we heard in the podcast earlier this morning about we need the diversity of feeling, of experiencing, of expression, to realize our sameness. It's such a, it's one and the same. It's like you need to know cold to experience hot. Like you need that to really understand how it's all connected.
Yeah.
So I love that you brought that up.
Yeah, thank you. You know, I think I really started understanding that concept when I started traveling and seeing how differently people move through their worlds and through their experiences just on a day-to-day basis. And I only saw like a snippet of what that was, but recognizing like, oh my gosh, we live so differently and we may feel so many different things, but we are so much more the same than I ever thought we were. And that's been a beautiful growth experience too, of coming home to myself and learning how to understand oneness and connectedness, and how to speak with people because they're more like you than you think they are.
The thought just came of just the anger doesn't mean that you're bitter.
No.
No. Anger is more.
It doesn't mean that you're resentful.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that you're going to go on a tirade. It doesn't mean that,
although you may want to.
Sure, right? Because it's a powerful emotion, and when, to me, it just needs more motion, right? Whether it's like you get outside or you take a bike ride or go for a walk, whatever that is for you, is to move that energy. But
which I have some really great activities. If you're in that space and you want some assistance moving through it, reach out. I have some really great activities to assist you in doing that. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
Well, it's that I think you've said a few times of being perceived, like if you allow yourself to be angry or express anger, that it's going to give the impression that you're just bitter and you're just trying to, tear something apart. Like I think of that in a past relationship, and that I'm communicating things that made me angry, and it's not that I was bitter. It's that it's anger comes from like a feeling of feeling wronged sometimes, of not feeling heard or not feeling seen or even acknowledged. It's not that I'm bitter. There's a want for acknowledgement for who I am and who I try to be and how I show up and how I contribute. It's less about being bitter.
It makes me think of a statement that I haven't heard for a while. It's one that I practiced. It's one that I probably said in my younger years and in a little bit of a different belief system inside of myself. And it came up again while listening to a panel of women discuss topics that are important to them. And it's the statement of, I've heard it in regards to leaving a religion. I'm sure it has been said in other things as well, but it's that if you don't believe it, why don't you leave it alone? And friends, you gotta stop saying that bullshit. Stop it. Stop it. And realize that person is so much more like you than you're recognizing in the moment. And the thing that you're saying in that moment by way of that is very, very hurtful and destructive and damaging. Stop it. Stop it.
But I think that's also a protection for them.
It is a protection. What I'm saying to you is recognize that they are very much like you. That they're trying to protect themselves also, but maybe they've been more faithful than you're giving them credit for. And the reason they don't leave the thing alone is because it's very much a part of who they are. It's been my system. It's been my belief for my entire life. It's the culture that I grew up in. It's the people who I grew up around. And it's not like you can't just turn your back on it. I didn't want to turn my back on it.
Well, I even think
it's about, for me, it's about coming to understanding of how I feel now and maybe why I feel some of those things. It's about learning.
And how you got there.
And how I got there. It's about learning. It's about deeper education. It's about deeper understanding. It's about having a greater understanding of people who are still in the system and people who are outside of the system and people who are teetering in the middle. It's not about that I'm out or anyone else in these situations. We're not out trying to destroy whatever the thing is, or that we're talking poorly of you as a person. We don't leave it alone and ask yourself this question, because it is interwoven into who we are, and we're just trying to gain understanding.
Well, if we're not, I look at an example in my own life of being in a long-term marriage for a long time, and wanting to have deeper understanding, and it's not, when I ask questions, it's or when I'm trying to make sense of what happened in my experience in that marriage and what the breakdown was. It's not an attack on the person I was with. It's not, look at all the things you didn't do. This is how I felt in it, and this is how it affected me. How can I do this differently? How can I, how could I have understood you differently? It's not only understanding the system, but understanding the leadership of that in a relationship sense is the other person, but also what was my role in it, and how could I move differently?
And that piece leading into like how to interact still with the people who may, whether it's a religion or it's a job or it's a relationship or it's whatever that thing is, it's still how to be in relationship, whatever that looks like, with those people. Yeah. And so that, and sometimes it means that you're not.
Which is, it's painful.
It feels like a big bummer. Actually, it hurts.
It does, because it, like you said, it's a big part of your life. Like, that marriage was 20 years of my life, and to shut off all that feeling is unrealistic, and it's not honest. Like, it's not that I don't care about that person or have a love for them or want good things for them. I want to learn how to communicate with that person so we can move through things together, or know how to support them in moving forward, and how to support myself and have a voice for myself as well, and not get caught up in old patterns.
Yeah, that piece, the honesty piece, that's such a big thing for me as well. I mean, I was taught honesty, to be honest, my whole life, and to recognize that those same systems that taught me honesty also taught me how to not be honest, in order to be safe, in order to, especially when.
Well, who are you being honest to?
That's the piece. I'd say, especially when things like my sexuality really came into the forefront, and it wasn't appreciated, it wasn't agreed with, it wasn't liked, it wasn't whatever. Put whatever word you want on it, and what felt like the encouragement to be dishonest to myself in order to be accepted in those places and loved in those places. It's such an interesting and mind-blowing experience to be in right now, to just look at all of those things and to be able to look at them with probably a more honest view than I have most of my life up to this point, or just maybe it's just deeper levels at this point.
Well, I think again, I'll go to a relationship. Like, if everything in a relationship is hunky-dory, and it's usually because one person is saying something and the other one's not, and everything's moving in one direction, when we don't speak up for ourselves and we don't own that part, and we're not being honest with ourselves or in how we're showing up, because we're not speaking up for ourselves to maintain the status quo. Right? Like, and that can be in any aspect of life.
Yeah. Status quo. As you were talking, I just had the thought, and it goes along with status quo of like, part of this is, for me, is like how I've shown up here, which I'm proud of how I've shown up here. Like I have no regrets of how I've shown up here. Or the face that I've shown, because it's honest. It's who I am. I think now it's just more a part of peeling away more pieces and allowing you to see more of who I am, because I'm allowing myself to see more of who I am and what I'm experiencing on this planet. And maybe from here on forward, you may get some of the edgier pieces, or the pieces that are more willing to rant and really speak up for myself, but also for you, in the places where I feel like there's injustices, or maybe just learning to be had, or to just tell you to knock it off sometimes, because sometimes we just need to be told to knock it off in loving ways. And there may be more discussion of deeper feelings, although I've toyed around with this, and those pieces probably will happen behind a paywall, to be honest. Because I think that requires a certain amount of energy and understanding and empathy and desire to learn, and also some protection. And I don't know if protection is the right words. It is safety. It's a safe space, a protected space. So know that that's coming. I feel really poked and pushed. I almost put those two words together. Nudged. I feel really nudged to move in that direction and to speak in those ways. And I would love to have you be a part of those conversations, because I'm not doing it for me. Well, there is an element of doing it for me, but I'm doing it for you. I'm willing to share for you, so that you can learn to hear your own voice and then to speak it as well in your own circles, to really be able to come home to yourself as well, and to be able to move through the painful pieces together, and to know that you're not alone, and to have people who can hold space for you. So that's coming. Thoughts?
I'm stuck on the honesty piece.
Oh,
I think
tell me more.
Just how we choose not to look at things, to stay in our integrity and to stay honest to what we allow in our realm of awareness, and how we don't realize that there's things to look at until something in our world shifts, and it's presented, whether that's an accident or a health crisis, or meeting someone, or whatever that is. It's the place of, I can't unsee this anymore, and God, the universe, whatever is directing my attention this way.
He's nudging you really to be honest, or more honest. I
appreciate, like, I don't believe, well, some of us do, and in some places, but I think we try to do the best that we know how, and be as honest, without, because I feel like there's also a piece of us that knows the maybe unsettled pieces of us that express in other ways, maybe through angry tantrums, or sadness, or whatever that emotion is, but the places that we don't want to look at, because it would require shifting, it would require change, it would require difficult conversations, maybe, or stretching of our edges, whether it's like getting more education to do, go after a job you want, or making the commitment to go run a race, and that means, like, I have to lace up my shoes and go practice and train. Like, it's in all those places,
and all of that feels scary, especially when it comes to our person, because it makes us different. Mm-hmm. It makes us different inside of ourselves. We show up differently to the people around us, who then say to you, "You're just different." And usually it's in a more derogatory way. Like, on occasion, someone will be like, "Gosh dang, you're different. Like, there's something different about you, and it's amazing." But more often than not, it's that you're just different. And the reality is, yeah, you're different. And it's different is okay. It took me a long time to recognize that, and to be okay with different. Oh my gosh, I feel like there's so many things we're going to be able to talk about, but for right now, I feel like we're kind of just leaving it on a ledge. And so, because I want to go play pickleball and I still have to get ready and eat and drive to it, I'm going to leave you on the ledge, and I'm just going to encourage you to, kick your feet over a little bit and dangle them and look around, have some snacks, take note of where you're at, and recognize that being on a ledge isn't necessarily a bad thing either. It's a beautiful resting point. It's a beautiful place to just look how far you've come, to look at the challenges that you got to move through and conquer in order to be on that ledge. And it gives you a moment just to rest and refuel and rejuvenate and take note of what you still have to do and what it is you're wanting to accomplish and where it is you're wanting to go. So enjoy the ledge. Enjoy the ledge for now, and we'll look forward to picking this conversation back up. Maybe we'll pick this one up next week, because in 2 weeks we have our dear friend and cohort Jane Storm with some really exciting news that we've been able to be a part of, and so we'll have that for you on the I don't have a calendar there. The 10th of April.
10th?
The 10th of April. The book's right here.
I think it's 11.
Is it?
No, you're right.
It's the 10th. Write that one down. I was right. 10th of April. Tomorrow we will have we'll kick it back off again with Leah's
Pink Cast,
which is called
Creative Unraveling.
I've actually missed that.
Yeah, me too. And I think it's just really good practice. We started talking about the creative void and knowing how, and but I'm going to save that for tomorrow. So if you want more of that, join in.
I'm like, can you clue me in a little so I can be prepared?
No, inspiration is a guide.
Oh yeah, inspiration is a guide. And then just remember, if you are our female rebels out there and you want to push some edges, you really want to get in and experience just letting go of all of the hoo-ha, letting go of responsibility for 5 or 6 days, and really learning how to reconnect with yourself, playing, moving through challenges, but not having to do it alone, actually being guided through those challenges, experiencing actual flow and recognizing that inside of flow, big waves happen sometimes. And then just connection. Learning to breathe, learning to hear what's around you, but mostly learning to hear you. Come join us on the river in August. That's the river, the main salmon river here in Idaho, Shoup, Idaho to be exact. And be a part of our women's river retreat and come play because you can, because you want to. You don't have to have a purpose. You don't have to have ROI. Don't let that stuff get in your way. Come and do it because it calls to you. And trust that you'll find the way. Oh yeah.
All right.
Anyway, we love you guys. Thanks for just allowing this to be live and uncorked today. Unscripted for sure. And giving space for where Rebels is headed and where I'm headed, which I'm not even really sure, but I'm learning to just go with the flow and unravel and allow life to unfold in.
Oh, and you're getting some waves along the way as you allow the flow. Just like the river.
Life lessons learned in action.
Washing machine. All right.
Reference for another day.
Yeah.
All right. We love you. Thank you so much. And we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow on
Facebook.
No. What's your podcast?
Pink Cast.
Pink Cast
is Creative Unraveling.
We'll see you tomorrow on Creative Unraveling.
All right. Until then.
Be bold. Be brave. Be a rebel. We'll see you soon.
You're starting it again.
Oh, yeah.
It's still live.
I know. Okay, this is a test. This is only a test. You can return to your regular broadcasting here in just a moment. We're actually trying to figure out how to turn this off because it's still showing live, even though we've turned the entire system off of the computer. So hopefully this counts. Thanks for joining us for, I don't know, maybe this is part 2 or just the extended version of part 1. We love you.